Commander Jake Sullivan sat at the round table and looked at the alien faces around him. 3 years of talking and nothing had changed. The aliens still treated humans like children who didn't understand how the galaxy worked. The meeting room was huge and made of clear crystal that showed the stars outside. Dozens of different alien species sat in their special chairs. Some breathed different air. Others floated in tanks of liquid. A few were so strange that Jake couldn't tell which end was their head. Dr. Lisa Wang sat next to Jake. She had thick files in front of her full of human achievements and discoveries. For 3 years she had tried to show the aliens what humans could do. They never listened. Ambassador Zexthera clicked his bug-like claws on the table. He was 7 feet tall with 4 arms and looked like a giant praying mantis. His black eyes never blinked as he stared at the humans with disgust. High Counselor Vorth floated in his glass container filled with purple gas. Nobody had ever seen his real body. He spoke through a machine that made his voice sound cold and empty. He was the leader of the Galactic Council and had ruled for over 1,000 years. Jake stood up slowly. Every alien in the room turned to look at him. The talking stopped. "We have been here for 3 years," Jake said in a calm voice. "We came here in good faith. We wanted to join your council as equals. We wanted to share what we know and learn from you." Zexthera made a sound like laughing. "Equals? You have been in space for less than 200 years. Some of us have traveled the stars for 10,000 years. You are like babies trying to sit at the adult table." Dr. Wang started to speak. "If you would just look at our research on quantum mechanics and faster-than-light travel improvements, you would see that—" "Silence," Vorth interrupted. His machine voice echoed in the room. "We have heard enough human claims. You think you are special because you learned to build simple ships. Every species goes through this phase. You will learn your place in time." Jake felt his jaw tighten but kept his voice steady. "What exactly is our place?" An alien that looked like a floating jellyfish pulsed with different colors. "Junior membership," it said through its translator. "You may trade in designated areas. You may visit approved worlds. You may send one representative to observe council meetings, but not vote." "For how long?" Dr. Wang asked. "Until the council decides you are ready," Zexthera said. "Perhaps in 500 years, maybe 1,000. Time moves differently when you live as long as we do." Jake looked around the table. He saw the same expression on every alien face. They thought humans were amusing pets that needed to be kept in line. They had made up their minds before the talks even started. "We built our first space station 3 years before your people even knew we existed," Dr. Wang said, her voice getting louder. "We solved the energy crisis that your scientists said was impossible. We developed medical treatments that have saved millions of lives across dozens of species." "Simple luck," another alien said. This one looked like a walking tree with glowing fruit for eyes. "Primitives sometimes stumble onto useful things by accident. Our mathematics alone." Dr. Wang tried again. "Mathematics." Zexthera slammed all 4 hands on the table. "You count on your fingers like animals. We were solving quantum equations before your son was born." Jake watched Dr. Wang's face turn red. She had spent her whole life studying alien cultures and trying to build bridges between species. She believed that understanding could solve any problem, but these aliens didn't want to understand. They wanted to feel superior. "Let me make this simple for you," Vorth said. His gas swirled faster in his container. "Accept junior membership or leave empty-handed. Those are your only choices." The room went quiet. Jake could hear the hum of the air recycling systems and the distant sound of ships docking at the station. He thought about all the humans back on Earth and the colonies who were waiting to hear if they would be welcomed into the galactic community. He thought about the children who dreamed of seeing alien worlds. He thought about the scientists who wanted to share their discoveries. He thought about the explorers who wanted to map new star systems. Then he thought about the way Zexthera looked at him like he was dirt under his claws. He thought about Vorth treating human achievements like they were nothing. He thought about 3 years of being talked down to and dismissed. Jake closed his folder and stood up. Dr. Wang looked at him with surprise. "Commander," she whispered. Jake picked up his papers and put them in his briefcase. Dr. Wang, please pack your materials. Wait, she said. Maybe we can find another approach. Maybe if we... Pack your materials, Doctor, Jake said firmly. Zexathera clicked his claws again, finally showing some sense. When you are ready to accept reality, we might consider... The Terran Federation withdraws from these negotiations, Jake said clearly. Pi? Room exploded in noise. Aliens chittered and buzzed and made sounds Jake couldn't identify. Some of them seemed shocked. Others laughed. Vorth's machine voice cut through the noise. You cannot simply leave. This is the only path to galactic recognition. Jake walked toward the door. Dr. Wang gathered her files and followed him, though she looked confused and upset. Humans, Zexthara called out. You think your pride matters? You think anyone cares if you leave? Go back to your little corner of space. Play with your primitive toys. When you grow up, maybe we will talk again. More laughter filled the room. Jake stopped at the door and turned around. Every alien was watching him with amusement. They thought this was funny. You know what? Jake said quietly. Maybe you're right. Maybe we need to grow up. He walked out with Dr. Wang behind him. The laughter followed them down the hallway until the doors closed. As their ship left the station, Dr. Wang stared out the window at the massive diplomatic complex. Jake, what did we just do? We threw away 3 years of work. We threw away humanity's chance to join the galactic community. Jake piloted their ship toward the jump point that would take them home. Lisa, did you see the way they looked at us? Yes, but they were never going to treat us as equals. Not in 500 years. Not in 1,000. They want us to stay, small and grateful. Dr. Wang was quiet for a long time. Finally, she said, So what do we do now? Jake entered the coordinates for Earth and engaged the faster-than-light drive. Now we show them what humans can really do. President Maria Santos stood at the window of her office on Earth and watched the news reports from across human space. 6 months had passed since Commander Sullivan walked away from the peace talks. The aliens expected humans to come crawling back, begging for another chance. They were wrong. Madam President, the final trade convoy has returned from alien space, said her aide Bobby Turner. All human merchants have withdrawn as ordered. Maria nodded. It had been a difficult decision to cut all ties with the galactic economy. Human colonies depended on alien technology and rare materials. But sometimes you had to sacrifice short-term comfort for long-term dignity. What about the tourists? She asked. The last civilian transport left Mantari space yesterday. No more humans are visiting alien worlds. The travel companies aren't happy, but they understand. In his military command center, Admiral Ben Carter was meeting with his top officers. The walls were covered with star maps showing human territory and the vast alien regions beyond. Red lines marked the borders that humans were no longer allowed to cross as equals. Project Sovereign is now fully authorized, Ben told the room full of generals and admirals. We have unlimited resources and complete secrecy. The politicians will handle the public relations. Our job is to make sure humanity is never dismissed again. General Patricia Brooks raised her hand. What exactly are we building, Admiral? NT activated a holographic display showing ship designs that didn't exist 6 months ago. Sleek vessels with armor and weapons far beyond anything humanity had ever built. We're building the largest military fleet in human history, Ben said. Ships that can match anything the aliens have. Bases and systems they've never explored. Weapons they've never imagined. How many ships? Asked General Tony White. As many as it takes. The automated shipyards on Luna are working around the clock. We're converting asteroid mining operations into weapons factories. Every human colony is contributing resources. Dr. Alex Thompson walked through the underground research facility that had been built in secret over the past 2 years. Nobody outside the highest levels of government knew it existed. The scientists working here had been developing technologies that the galactic treaties had forbidden humans to research. Dr. Thompson, the new faster-than-light drive is ready for testing, said his assistant Rachel Kim. It's 30% faster than anything the aliens use. Excellent. What about the weapons systems? The plasma cannons can cut through any known alien armor. The kinetic bombardment system can destroy targets from orbit without leaving any trace of advanced technology. Alex smiled. For years, humans had been forced to use inferior technology because the aliens said it was inappropriate for a young species. Now freed from those restrictions, human science was advancing at an incredible rate. The cloaking devices? Alex asked. Perfect. Our ships can become completely invisible to alien sensors. They'll never see us coming. On the frontier, world of New Colorado, Captain Nina Rodriguez was training the first units of a new type of human soldier. They wore armor that could stop alien weapons and carried guns that could punch through alien defenses. Remember, we're not just soldiers anymore, Nina told her troops. We're ghosts. We go where the aliens think we can't go. We see what they think we can't see. We prepare for a war they don't believe we can fight. The soldiers nodded. Every one of them had volunteered for this secret program. Every one of them remembered the stories of how the aliens had laughed at human diplomats. When do we deploy? Asked Sergeant Chris Murphy. Soon. Very soon. There are dozens of alien systems that need to be observed. Back on Earth, President Santos received daily reports from across human space. The withdrawal from galactic civilization was working exactly as planned. Humans were uniting like never before. Every colony, every ship, every citizen was working toward the same goal. Madam President, we're getting questions from the alien press, Bobby said. They want to know why humans have stopped all contact. Let them wonder, Maria replied. Silence is more powerful than words right now. Some of our own people are asking the same questions. They don't understand why we're isolating ourselves. Maria turned from the window. They'll understand when it's time. Right now, they just need to trust that we know what we're doing. In the Galactic Council chambers, the aliens were beginning to notice the human absence. Ambassador Zexithara complained to High Counselor Vorth about the economic disruption. Human trade routes have generated significant revenue, Zexithara clicked angrily. Their sudden withdrawal is affecting commerce across 6 sectors. It's temporary, Vorth replied through his machine voice. They're having a tantrum. Children always come back when they get hungry. What if they don't come back? Then we were right about them being too immature for galactic civilization. But privately, some aliens were starting to worry. The jellyfish? Creature Kent had noticed something troubling in the economic reports. Counselor Vorth, human traders weren't just buying from us, Kent said quietly. They were providing rare materials that several species depend on, certain medical supplies, refined metals, energy crystals. Without human sources, we'll have shortages. There are other suppliers, Vorth said dismissively. Not at the prices humans offered. They were selling many items below market value, apparently, as gestures of friendship. Vorth's gas swirled more quickly. Find alternative sources. On the mining world of Kepler-7, the automated systems that humans had built and maintained suddenly stopped working. The alien supervisors tried to contact human technical support, but the communication channels were dead. Why aren't the humans answering? Asked the ethereal overseer. All human personnel were withdrawn last month, replied his assistant. They said their contracts were terminated. But who's going to maintain the equipment? Nobody had an answer. The mining operation that had been running smoothly for 5 years was now breaking down without human expertise. Similar problems appeared across alien space. Communication relays that humans had designed went offline. Transport ships that used human navigation systems got lost. Medical facilities that depended on human-developed treatments ran out of supplies. Admiral Carter received reports of alien confusion with satisfaction. They're starting to realize that humans weren't just customers, he told his staff. We were partners they took for granted. Should we offer assistance? Asked General Brooks. Absolutely not. They made their choice when they treated us like children. Now they can solve their own problems. Dr. Thompson's research teams were making breakthrough after breakthrough. Without alien oversight restricting their work, human science was developing faster than anyone had imagined possible. The new sensor arrays can detect alien ships at twice the range of their equipment, Rachel reported. The improved computers can process tactical data faster than alien systems. The enhanced weapons can engage targets that alien defenses can't even see. How long until we're ready? Alex asked. 2 more years of development and production. Maybe less if we can increase resource allocation. President Santos called a secret meeting of humanity's top leaders. Representatives from every major colony attended via secure hologram. The message was simple and direct. The aliens think they're dealing with a tantrum, she told them. They expect us to come back begging for scraps. Instead, we're going to return as equals whether they like it or not. What if they refuse to recognize our new status? Asked the governor of New Mars. Then they'll learn that dismissing humanity was the biggest mistake in galactic history. Captain Rodriguez's special. Forces were already conducting secret missions in alien space. Using the new cloaking technology, they could observe alien military bases without being detected. They mapped defense systems, studied patrol patterns, and identified weaknesses. The aliens have gotten lazy, Nina reported to Admiral Carter. Their security is terrible. Their weapons are outdated, their tactics haven't changed in centuries. Good. That will make things easier when the time comes. When will that be? When we're strong enough that they have no choice but to listen. The months passed quietly. The aliens stopped asking questions about human activities and focused on dealing with the problems caused by the human withdrawal. They found other suppliers for the materials they needed, but everything cost more and worked less efficiently. Some alien leaders began to suspect that humans might be more important to galactic civilization than anyone had realized. But they were proud species who had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years. Admitting they were wrong about primitive humans was unthinkable. President Santos received her final report on the isolation period. Human space was now completely independent of alien support. Military production was exceeding all expectations. Scientific development was advancing at revolutionary speed. We're ready for the next phase, Admiral Carter told her. Our ships are better than theirs. Our weapons are more advanced. Our soldiers are better trained. Most importantly, we know everything about them and they know nothing about us. Then it's time to remind the galaxy that humans don't stay down when they're knocked down, Maria said. We get back up stronger than before. General Sam Mitchell walked through the underground command center that didn't exist on any official map. The base was carved deep inside an asteroid in a system that had no name, only numbers. Around him, hundreds of human officers worked at glowing screens showing star maps and alien ship movements. 2 years had passed since Commander Sullivan walked out of the peace talks. 2 years of the aliens thinking humans had crawled away to hide. They were wrong. General, we have new intel from the border regions, Commander Kate Phillips said as she approached. She had just returned from another stealth mission in her ship that could slip past alien sensors like a ghost. What did you find this time? Sam asked. Kate pulled up a holographic display showing the Mantari military base on Kepler Station. Their defense grid has the same weaknesses we identified 6 months ago. They haven't upgraded anything. They think they're safe. Sam nodded. It was the same story everywhere. The alien civilizations had been at peace for so long that their military leaders had gotten lazy. They used the same patrol routes for decades. They left their communication codes unchanged for years. Some of their weapons were older than human. Civilization? Any signs they know we're watching? Sam asked. None at all. Their sensors can't detect our new ships. Captain Luke Patterson flew within 1,000 kilometers of their command ship yesterday. They never saw him. Across the command center, Dr. Ryan Clark was showing his latest creation to a group of military engineers. It looked like a simple metal rod, but Sam knew it could punch through the armor of any alien warship. The kinetic bombardment system is ready for field testing, Ryan said excitedly. We drop these from orbit and they hit with the force of a nuclear weapon, but they're just chunks of metal. No radiation, no fancy technology they can study if they find the pieces. One of the engineers whistled softly. How many can we make? As many as we need. The automated factories on Luna are running full production. We'll have 10,000 units ready by next month. Sam walked over to the intelligence section where dozens of analysts were studying alien communication intercepts. Most of the messages, or boring reports about trade routes and weather patterns. But some were more interesting. "General, look at this," said Intelligence Officer Carol Martinez. She pointed to a message from the Ethereal High Command. "They're starting to ask questions about the missing mining operations." "Which ones?" "The automated asteroid miners in the Vega system. All 12 stations went offline last week." The Ethereals sent a patrol to investigate, but they found nothing. Sam smiled. Those mining operations hadn't gone offline by accident. Human engineering teams had very carefully removed every piece of useful equipment and left only empty shells behind. The aliens would find asteroid bases that looked untouched from the outside, but were completely hollow inside. "What about the patrol ships that have been disappearing?" Sam asked. "The aliens are calling them equipment failures. They think their ships are just breaking down in deep space. They have no idea we've been studying their technology every time they send a ship into our observation zones." Captain Luke Patterson walked into the command center, still wearing his flight suit. His ship was so new that it didn't even have a name yet, just a number. It was one of 50 identical vessels that could appear and disappear like magic. "General, the deep space reconnaissance is complete," Luke reported. "We've mapped every major alien installation within 100 light years. Their supply lines, their communication relays, their emergency protocols. We know where every important alien leader will be at any given time." "Casualties?" Sam asked. "Zero. They never knew we were there." That was the beauty of the new human strategy. While the aliens expected humans to be loud and obvious like young species usually were, humanity had learned to be patient and invisible. Every human ship was designed to avoid detection. Every human base was hidden in systems the aliens considered worthless. Dr. Clark approached with a tablet showing production figures. "General, the self-replicating mining drones are exceeding expectations. They've stripped 3 entire asteroid belts and converted the materials into ship components. We're building vessels faster than any civilization in galactic history." "How many ships do we have now?" Sam asked. "Active fleet stands at 850 vessels. Another 200 under construction. By the end of the year, we'll have over 2,000 ships, and most of them are more advanced than anything the aliens have." Sam walked to the main display showing the entire sector. Red dots marked alien military bases. Blue dots showed human positions. 2 years ago, there had been maybe 20 blue dots clustered around Earth and the nearby colonies. Now there were over 300 blue dots scattered across dozens of star systems. "Sir, incoming message from Earth," Communications Officer Dan Torres called out. "President Santos wants an update on Project Sovereign." Sam activated the secure channel. President Maria Santos appeared on the screen. She looked tired, but determined. "Sam, are we ready?" she asked without any greeting. "Almost. Another 6 months and we'll have complete superiority in this entire sector. The aliens still have more ships overall, but ours are newer and better. More importantly, we know where all their ships are, and they don't know where any of ours are." "What about their reaction to the missing assets?" "They're starting to notice, but they're not connecting the dots yet. The Mantari think it's equipment failures. The Ethereals think it's some kind of natural phenomenon. The other species are barely paying attention." Santos nodded. "And if they figure it out before we're ready, then we move to the next phase early. We have contingency plans for every scenario." The president ended the call and Sam turned back to the tactical display. Kate Phillips was briefing a new group of pilots who would be taking stealth ships deep into alien territory. "Remember, you are ghosts," she told them. "You observe, you record, you leave no trace. If you're detected, jump immediately. We're not ready for open conflict yet." One of the young pilots raised his hand. "Commander, what happens when we are ready?" Kate looked at Sam, who walked over to answer the question himself. "When we're ready, we're going to give the Galactic Council a choice," Sam said quietly. "They can treat us as equals, or they can face the consequences of their arrogance." "What kind of consequences?" another pilot asked. Sam pointed to the display showing alien shipping routes. Every major trade lane was marked with human observation posts that the aliens couldn't detect. Right now, their entire economy depends On shipping routes that pass through space we can control whenever we want. Their military bases get supplies from sources we can cut off at any time. Their communication networks use relay stations we can disable with a thought. The pilots looked at each other with understanding dawning on their faces. You mean we could shut down their entire civilization without firing a shot? The first pilot asked. If we wanted to, Sam confirmed. But that's not the goal. The goal is to make them realize that treating us like children was the biggest mistake they ever made. Dr. Clark came over with another report. General, the adaptive AI systems are learning faster than expected. They've analyzed every alien weapon system, every defense protocol, every tactical doctrine. If we do end up in a fight, our ships will know how to counter anything they throw at us. Sam looked around the command center at all the humans working quietly and efficiently. No one was shouting orders or panicking. Everyone knew their job, and did it well. This was what humans could accomplish when they stopped trying to please others and focused on protecting themselves. Status report on the hidden bases? Sam asked. Operational and expanding, Kate replied. We have supply depots in 47 systems, manufacturing facilities in 12 systems, and staging areas in 63 systems. All of them invisible to alien sensors. Sam nodded with satisfaction. When the aliens had dismissed humanity from the peace talks, they thought they were dealing with a primitive species that would give up and go home. Instead, they had created an enemy that was patient, intelligent, and absolutely determined to prove them wrong. The galaxy was about to learn what humans could really do when they set their minds to it. High Counselor Vorth floated in his gas-filled chamber and watched the emergency reports flow across his screen. 3 alien civilizations had lost military assets in the past month. Nobody knew how or why. The Mantari had lost an entire patrol fleet near the Rigel system. 12 ships had simply vanished without sending any distress signals. Search teams found nothing except empty space. The ethereal deep space monitoring network had gone silent across 6 sectors. The stations were still there, but they weren't responding to any communications. When repair crews arrived, they found the stations completely empty, with all the valuable equipment missing. The tree-like Valdari had reported that their automated mining operations in the Outer Rim had stopped working. The mining ships were found floating dead in space, stripped of everything useful. This cannot be coincidence, Vorth said to his assistant, a floating jellyfish creature named Kenth. The military analysis teams believe it might be some kind of new space phenomenon, Kenth replied. Perhaps a type of energy field that disrupts technology. Vorth's gas swirled angrily in his container. And they believe this energy field can remove equipment without damaging the ships? They believe it can make entire fleets disappear? They are fools. Ambassador Zexathara entered the chamber with his usual clicking steps. His forearms were moving in the pattern that meant he was worried, though he tried to hide it. High Counselor, we have detected massive energy signatures from uninhabited star systems, Zexathara reported. Industrial activity on a scale we have never seen before. Which systems? Dozens of them, all in regions we considered worthless. No planets, no resources worth taking, but something is building factories and shipyards out there. Vorth thought about this news. The only species with the technology for such large-scale construction were already members of the Council. None of them had reported any new projects. Could it be the humans? Kenth asked quietly. Both Vorth and Zexathara turned to look at the small jellyfish. The idea seemed ridiculous. Humans had walked away from the peace talks 3 years ago and hadn't been heard from since. Impossible, Zexathara said. They are primitives. They do not have the technology for projects of this size. Send a diplomatic message to human space, Vorth ordered. Ask them to explain these activities. The message was sent to Earth and the human colonies. Days passed with no response. Then weeks. Finally, after a month of silence, they received a reply. A single human ship approached the Council station. It was unlike any vessel in the Galactic database. The hull was smooth and dark, and it seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. The ship's energy signature was completely different from any known human technology. How did they build that? Zexathara whispered as he watched the ship dock. 3 more ships appeared out of nowhere around the station. They had been invisible until they chose to reveal themselves. The Council's best sensors hadn't detected them at all. Ambassador Helen Davis stepped off the human ship wearing a simple black uniform. She was a tall woman with gray hair and calm eyes that seemed to see everything. Behind her came 2 human guards carrying weapons that looked more advanced than anything the Council had seen. "Counselors," Helen said as she entered the main chamber. She didn't bow or show any of the respect that other species always gave to the ancient leaders. "You wanted to talk." Vorth's gas moved faster in his container. "Ambassador Davis, we have questions about activities in uninhabited systems, large-scale construction projects that appear to be of human origin." Helen sat down at the same table where Jake Sullivan had been humiliated 3 years earlier. She placed a small device on the surface that projected a 3-dimensional map of the local galaxy. "You want to know what we've been doing?" she said. It wasn't a question. Red dots appeared on the map showing alien military bases, trade routes, and communication networks. There were thousands of them scattered across dozens of star systems. "This is classified information," Zexathera clicked, angrily. "How did you obtain these coordinates?" Blue dots began appearing on the map. At first there were just a few, then dozens, then hundreds. Each blue dot represented a human installation that the aliens hadn't known existed. "We've been watching." "You," Helen said calmly. "Every ship movement, every communication, every supply run. We know where your leaders sleep at night. We know what you had for breakfast this morning." The chamber fell silent. The alien counselors stared at the map, showing human bases surrounding their most important installations. "The missing patrol fleets?" Vorth asked quietly. "We needed to test your response times and defensive capabilities. Your ships are now in our research facilities being studied. Don't worry, we didn't harm the crews. They're being held in comfortable detention centers. The mining operations? We required raw materials for our construction projects. Your automated systems were convenient sources of metals and rare elements." Senator Rick Coleman walked into the chamber. He had been living on the Council station for 2 years as a trade representative, but now he wore a human military uniform with intelligence officer insignia. "Senator Coleman has been providing us with daily reports on Council activities," Helen explained. "Every meeting, every decision, every plan you made to deal with the human problem." Zexthera's claws scraped against his chair. "You have been spying on us for years." "We learned from you," Helen replied. "You taught us that the galaxy doesn't respect weakness. You taught us that being polite gets you nothing. You taught us that the only thing that matters is power." A new hologram appeared in the room. Fleet Admiral Paul Jenkins stood in what looked like the command center of a massive warship. Behind him, dozens of officers worked at control stations. "Counselors," the Admiral said, "I want to show you something." The hologram changed to show a view of space. Hundreds of human warships hung in perfect formation. They were larger and more advanced than any vessels in the Galactic fleet. "This is Battle Group Alpha," Jenkins explained. "One of 12 such groups currently deployed throughout this sector. Each group has the firepower to destroy any alien fleet sent against it." More images flashed through the hologram. Massive orbital shipyards producing vessels at incredible speed. Automated factories strip mining entire asteroid belts. Weapons that could crack planets. 3 years ago you told us we weren't ready to join your galactic community," Helen said. "You said we needed to grow up. You said we were like children, playing with toys." She stood up and walked to the chamber's great window that showed the stars outside. "You were right. We did need to grow up, so we did." The hologram showed human ships appearing throughout the galaxy. They materialized near every major alien installation, every important trade route, every strategic resource. "We could have destroyed your civilizations months ago," Admiral Jenkins said. "We could have taken over your worlds, enslaved your populations, stolen your technology. But we didn't." "Why?" Vorth's machine voice was barely a whisper. Helen turned back to face the Council. "Because we're not like you. We don't want to rule over others. We don't want to make anyone feel small or worthless. We just want to be treated as equals." She activated her device again. This time it showed a document with terms for a new treaty. The Terran Federation offers the Galactic Council a simple choice. Accept us as full members with equal voting rights and representation, or we will consider the Council a hostile organization and act accordingly. You're threatening us, Zexthera said. No, Helen replied. We're giving you the same choice you gave us 3 years ago. Accept our terms or face the consequences. Admiral Jenkins leaned forward in the hologram. Your civilizations depend on trade routes that pass through space we now control. Your military bases receive supplies from sources we can cut off at any time. Your communication networks use relay stations we can disable with a thought. You have 1 month to decide, Helen said as she gathered her materials. Choose wisely. She walked toward the door, then stopped and looked back at the alien counselors. By the way, your defense grid has been offline for the past 10 minutes. We wanted to demonstrate that we could disable it any time we choose. It will come back online when I leave the station. The humans departed, leaving the council chamber in stunned silence. Forth checked his systems and confirmed that the station's primary defenses were indeed offline. They had been neutralized so quietly that no one had noticed. What have we done? Kent whispered. Zexthera stared at the map still showing hundreds of human installations surrounding their most vital systems. We created the very enemy we were trying to prevent. Forth's gas swirled in slow, defeated circles. We have 1 month to decide the future of galactic civilization, and I fear we no longer have any good choices. President Maria Santos walked into the same crystal chamber where Jake Sullivan had been dismissed 3 years earlier. But everything was different now. The aliens who had once laughed at human pride now watched her with careful respect and barely hidden fear. The month was up. The Galactic Council had called an emergency session to give their answer to humanity's ultimatum. Representatives from every major species filled the chamber, but the mood was nothing like the arrogant confidence of the previous meetings. High Counselor Vorth's gas moved slowly in his container. Ambassador Zexthera kept his forearms folded, tightly against his body. The floating jellyfish Kenth pulsed with nervous colors. None of them looked at President Santos directly. Madam President, Vorth said through his machine voice, the Galactic Council has considered your proposal. Santos sat down at the table and waited. She didn't rush them or demand an immediate answer. 3 years of preparation had taught humanity the value of patience. Admiral Ben Carter stood behind her, wearing his dress uniform with all the medals he had earned during the secret war that the aliens never knew was happening. Dr. Lisa Wang was there too, finally getting the chance to present her research to an audience that would actually listen. Before we give our answer, Vorth continued, we must ask about your intentions. Some of our military advisors believe that humans seek to dominate the galaxy. Santos smiled calmly. Counselor, if we wanted to dominate the galaxy, would we be sitting here talking? She activated a small device that showed the current positions of human and alien fleets. The display made it clear that humanity could have attacked at any time during the past month. Instead, human ships had maintained defensive positions and avoided any aggressive actions. We could have struck your homeworlds while you were debating, Admiral Carter said. We could have destroyed your fleets before they knew we were there. We could have taken control of every trade route in this sector. But you didn't, said the tree-like Valdari representative. Because that's not what we want, Santos replied. We never wanted to be your masters. We just wanted to be your equals. Zexthera finally spoke up. 3 years ago, we offered you junior membership. You walked away. 3 years ago, you treated us like children who should be grateful for scraps, Dr. Wang said firmly. You dismissed our achievements and mocked our capabilities. You made it clear that you would never see us as equals no matter what we accomplished. So we decided to accomplish something you couldn't ignore, Santos added. The chamber fell quiet for a long moment. Finally, Vorth's gas swirled in what might have been a sigh. The Galactic Council accepts the Terran Federation as a full member with equal voting rights and representation, he announced. The words echoed in the crystal chamber. Santos felt a weight lift from her shoulders, but she kept her expression neutral This was just the beginning. However, Forth continued, we must address the human military buildup. Your fleet is now larger than any 3 council species combined. This creates an imbalance that concerns many of our members. Admiral Carter stepped forward. Our fleet will remain at current levels for the foreseeable future. We learned that the galaxy can be a dangerous place for species that can't defend themselves. You're threatening us again, said an alien that looked like a giant spider with too many eyes. No, Santos said. We're explaining reality. 3 years ago, you taught us that respect comes from strength, not from good intentions. We're simply making sure we never need to learn that lesson again. She stood up and walked to the great window showing the stars outside. Somewhere out there, human ships patrolled territories that had been alien-controlled just months before. Hidden bases produced new vessels every day. The balance of power in the galaxy had changed forever. We're not your enemies, Santos said without turning around. We want to work with you, trade with you, learn from you. But we'll do it as equals, not as your junior partners. Dr. Wang activated her presentation system. For the first time in years, alien representatives paid attention as she showed human research on faster-than-light travel, medical advances, and energy production. Our quantum mechanics research could improve your ship designs by 40%, she explained. Our medical treatments could extend lifespans for every species in the Council. Our energy systems could power civilizations for thousands of years. And you're willing to share this knowledge? Asked the jellyfish Kent. With partners, yes. With masters who think we're too primitive to understand our own discoveries? No. Santos turned back to face the Council. We're proposing something the galaxy hasn't seen in centuries. Real cooperation between equals. No species dominating others. No ancient civilizations looking down on younger ones. Just different peoples working together for everyone's benefit. Zexathara's claws tapped nervously on his chair. What about your hidden bases? Your spy networks? Your weapons that can destroy planets? What about your own military installations? Your intelligence services? Your weapons of mass destruction? Admiral Carter replied. Every species in this room has the power to commit genocide. The difference is that we've proven we won't use that power unless we're forced to. A new voice spoke from the back of the chamber. Captain Luke Patterson had entered quietly and now stood at attention. Admiral, the Outer Rim Patrol reports that Mantari raiders have attacked a human colony transport, he announced. The chamber went completely silent. Every alien representative turned to look at Zexathara, whose species controlled the Mantari raiders through ancient agreements. Santos watched the Mantari ambassador's reaction carefully. This was the first real test of the new relationship between humans and the Council. The raiders acted without authorization, Zexathara said quickly. They will be stopped immediately. No need, Admiral Carter said with a slight smile. Our patrol ships disabled the raider vessels and captured their crews. No one was harmed. We're returning the raiders to Mantari space for you to deal with according to your laws. Zexathara looked shocked. You could have destroyed them. We could have, Santos agreed. But that's not how partners behave. Partners work together to solve problems. She sat back down at the table and pulled out a document. The new Galactic Accords, she announced. A treaty that establishes humanity as an equal member of the galactic community. It also includes new rules for how Council species interact with each other. No more junior memberships. No more treating younger civilizations as inferiors. Every species gets equal representation regardless of how long they've been in space. Dr. Wang stood up. The Accords also establish new scientific exchange programs, joint exploration missions, and shared defense agreements. Humanity offers our technology and resources to help every species achieve their full potential. Vorth's gas moved slowly as he considered the document. And if we refuse these terms? Santos looked around the chamber at all the alien faces. Some showed fear, others showed curiosity. A few showed what might have been hope. Then humanity will continue to grow and expand on our own, she said simply. We'll protect our interests and help our friends, but we won't be part of a galactic community that refuses to accept us as equals. The voting took 3 hours. It was finished. The new Galactic Accords had passed by the largest margin in Council history. Only 2 species voted against it, and even they seemed relieved when the decision was made. As the Council session ended, Vorth approached Santos privately. "Madam President, I must ask, did you plan all of this from the beginning? The withdrawal, the military buildup, the dramatic return?" Santos smiled. "Counselor, humans have a saying. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. 3 years ago, you showed us exactly who you were. We simply responded accordingly. And now? Now we find out who we can become together." Outside the station, human and alien ships flew in formation for the first time in galactic history, not as masters and servants, but as equals exploring the stars together. The galaxy had learned that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or their military power. It was their refusal to accept anything less than the respect they deserved. And now, finally, they had it.